Finally, October 10th, 2017 is here. And since 4 a.m., Liberians all around the country have been making their way to various polling centers to exercise their constitutional right of voting in these general elections and to elect their leaders, or president and or representative for each district. For this election, Ken Media is covering 16 voting precincts. 4 of the 16 are in Monserrado County in District 6 and 12 in Maigibi County, District 1 and 2. Our first stop is at the Bambas Town, Monserrado County, District 6. The last center we met before entering Maigibi County, where we met a crowd less expected at this time of the morning. The reason gathered for this crowd is because of a combination of 2 registration centers. The center at the Love or Child and this one. While at the center, the voting materials have arrived. As the materials are offloaded, Ken Media and Co-FM reporters covering the process got stopped by the police. Our next stop is now at this center in Maigibi, Duazan community. We are seeing orderliness and queues heading to different rooms as the National Election Commission's staffs verified the voters' ID card and directed them to specific rooms or queues. Others, however, complained of not finding their voting rooms and have joined and continue to Duazan Public School. Heading to the school, bystander notified us that the people embarking this bus are being trucked out of town. To vote, this process is usually called trucking in Liberia. Obviously, they will not speak to our cameras, so we got at the school. Here at the school, we spoke to this man.
As of this moment, the atmosphere is very calm. As you can see, we Liberians have gathered to practice our franchise, and the process is very peaceful and Liberian. This is my first time to see Liberian conducting us in this manner, whereby everyone wants to obey and follow the process. So we expect at the end of the day that Liberia will speak their minds to this process.
Meanwhile, the same problem about people finding voting rooms existed that caused the magistrate from the other center to arrive and to rent up existence. We continued our tour. This is now Durak's campus. This center has several lines but one entry, making it difficult to get in. We are moving on. We are now in the Boys Town community. This is another center. We find orderliness existing also, as these people have all left their homes because they need their leaders, or president, and a representative. All of these centers are extremely packed, as you can see, and the joining is still on in Maigibi County. This is a shock. This center is relatively empty as compared to previous centers, and this is in the Joe Blows town. Now we are in the smell no taste. This too is not as packed as previous. However, In the smell no taste, this is another center again. And now we are heading onto the Rivers International Airport Center. There are 2 centers in this area. We find a little crowd as well. And the journey continues. Now passing the rubber trees, we are in Firestone. And this is the first center. This is again another center in the Firestone area, Habel. The process here is different from other areas. Everyone are in a single queue heading to the entrance. Luckily for them, the roof is shielding them from the sun. Again, we try to speak to some of the voters, but at no avail. We are still in Habel. And this is the last center that we are covering to head back to Monrovia. Now we are back in Monrovia and back in District 6 at this center. The greatest complaint from voters about voting sites were heard and action taken by some voters. The sun is ablaze as voters here are struggling to cast their votes. We spoke with this voter.
I'm Washington Colette. I came to this center. This is district number 6, and I've been here since 5 o'clock this morning. I stood on the queue at polling room number 7, and in fact, before I stood there, I got the assurance from those next time that that's the place that I was supposed to be standing, my wife and I. But it was unfortunate and frustrating that we stood there, entered the room, and the very people who told us to stand on that queue because it's where we're going to vote. It's in that room that we're going to cast our vote. We went in, we searched through the photo registry record, and they told us that our names were not there and also our photos were not there. That is very, very frustrating. And more frustrating, they did not give us any solution as to how we're going to cast our vote. It was another voter like myself who volunteered to browse the internet and then find out for us the exact polling room in which we're going to vote. So from polling room number 6, we were sent to polling room. For polling room number 7, we were sent to polling room number 6. And we had to start from the very end of the line. That is very, very much frustrating. I'm not the only person. There were others who really got frustrated and they left. They said that they were not going to vote. I even had to beg my wife so that we could stay and then exercise our political franchise. Just imagine from 5 o'clock this morning, it is approaching somewhere around 2 o'clock. This kind of carelessness and negligence on the part of the NSC actually has the tendency to undermine the electoral process.
This is another center in District 6, Montserrado County. And people are everywhere. And the same complaint about voting sites exist. Because of the irregularities and many calls from voters to media stations and the National Elections Commission's office, the National Election Commissioner, Councillor Jerome Kokia, has announced that the process would continue until all voters who had underqueued until 6 p.m. are finished with their voting process. And this is the October 10th, 2017 general elections in Liberia. These are immediate findings of the electoral process in Liberia, 2017, October 10th. 1. The National Elections Commission meant to simplify the voting process, but failed to communicate with the voters or public of how voters are going to be assigned to polling centers based on their voting series number. The National Elections Commission's failure to communicate is the result of the catastrophe seen and experienced during this electoral process. Next, communication experts should advise them of this danger ahead of the elections. This is the importance of communication. It is a fragile thing, so you must make people to know what are the thoughts or ideas you have within you towards a process that they are directly involved, especially dealing with about 2.2 million people. Some of the National Elections Commission staffs did not understand the serious numbered process in depth, which also caused difficulties during the process of assigning people. The trucking of people from place to place during election by aspirant creates an imbalance in the electoral process. However, the October 10, 2017 general election has gone down in history.